Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Avery, and I make lifestyle content here on YouTube for mommies and wifeys, and I'm passionate about womanhood. So, this is actually my first long form video. I'm super excited to be able to sit down with you guys, create a little bit more of a intimate space, and really be able to start to build a community here. So, feel free to hit that subscribe button, stay a while. And today we are talking about my birth story. I thought that this was a good place to start in regard to my channel, my story, the community that I'm wanting to build, because I can't say that I'm the same person that I was before I became a mom. I don't know if anybody else can resonate with that. Comment down below if you can. And I just really wanted to share my story to hopefully inspire, pregnant mamas or women who are planning to be pregnant. I'm wanting to inspire you towards an empowered birth. I'm really wanting to talk about kind of like the feelings that you may be experiencing, or I know at least that I experienced before I gave birth, and the reality of those feelings. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to take these off before we get started because I feel like there's a glare. But first things first, I want to just throw a disclaimer out there. Excuse the noise in the background. My baby is playing with her feet. Before we get started, I just wanted to throw a disclaimer out there. The choices that I made for my birth, I did talk to my provider, and everything was approved for me and my situation, and it was something that my partner was comfortable with as well. So just make sure before you make any type of decisions about what you're wanting to do with your birth plan that you, number one, are doing your research. Informed consent is the most empowering thing that you can receive. So definitely make sure that you're making informed decisions. Make sure that you and your partner are on the same page about what y'all are wanting for your baby. And last but not least, make sure that you're talking with your provider to make sure that the things that you're wanting are safe and are aligned with your personal situation throughout your pregnancy. So, now that all of that is said, I am 5 months postpartum. I had my daughter in November. And one thing that was really important to me was I was shooting for an unmedicated birth. And I'm going to make another video about planning for an unmedicated birth, things that I did to make sure that I was prepared both physically and mentally. But unmedicated birth was my number one goal. So I went the birth center route. She was born in a birthing center. I had a fairly easy pregnancy, thank God. I did have some issues with my blood sugar. I actually passed out a couple of times whenever I was pregnant. But otherwise, I had a very healthy pregnancy. I was 40 weeks pregnant, and I had zero signs of going into labor anytime soon. So I had an appointment with my midwife, and we kind of started to throw around like what we would do if I made it to 41 weeks, what we would do if we made it to 42 weeks. And again, if you're unfamiliar with midwifery, they cannot deliver babies before 38 weeks, and they cannot deliver babies after 42 weeks. So really, you're not wanting to go too early and you're not wanting to go too late. So 40 weeks comes around. I'm starting to get a little scared because I really, really, really wanted a natural birth. And I was definitely not interested in any type of inductions as well. We'll get into that in a second. But 40 weeks comes, and I don't know if anybody else can resonate with this, but I started to get very restless. I was very patient up until I hit 40 weeks. And from there, I was doing everything under the sun to try to make myself go into labor, and it was just not working. So I had an appointment with my provider. I think I was 40 weeks and 5 days. And we started to kind of have a discussion about inductions, what would happen if I went to 42 weeks. So I start to get a little scared at this point. And I, prior to this appointment, I did not think that I would be down for any type of induction. But she offered me a cervical check. And I thought that I was, prior to this, I did not want a cervical exam. I didn't want anything. But like I said, I had started to get impatient. So I said yes to the cervical exam. And she told me that I was dilated about a centimeter, which at 40 and 5, I'm only a centimeter. Oh my God. I was a little panicked when she said that, but she said that my cervix was very favorable, my cervix was very soft, so that was a good sign for me. She offers me the cervical exam, and after we did that, she offered to do a membrane sweep. Again, I didn't want any type of induction prior to this, so I thought about it. She offered it to me at the beginning of the appointment, and I sat on it until the end of the appointment. We were there for about an hour, and I did decide that I wanted to do the membrane sweep. So she went ahead and did the sweep, and she also gave me castor oil. If you have never heard of the castor oil, um, induction, basically you take a huge amount of castor oil, and it's essentially a laxative. But your GI tract and your uterus are very much interconnected. So if you can make some things happen in your GI tract, you can make some things happen in your uterus. So it's kind of like, have you ever heard of like eating spicy food before you, as you get closer to your due date? It's kind of the same thing. You just want to get your GI tract stimulated. So I think I drank 4 tablespoons of castor oil, and let me tell you, that started some things. But what happened was, after the sweep and after the castor oil, I started to experience contractions. I was about 2 to 3 minutes apart. Bless you. Bless you. Yes. I was about 2 to 3 minutes apart. They were pushing mild. I was feeling them. I could still talk. I was still myself between contractions, but they were definitely there. And so I thought, that was a Sunday. I thought I was going to have a baby by Monday. And so I'm doing all the things. I'm walking, I'm using a birth ball, I'm bouncing on it. I was doing the miles circuit. I'll make a video on the miles circuit if you're interested. I was doing everything to try to push my labor along. And nighttime came, I fell asleep, and whenever I woke up in the morning, contractions were gone. Obviously, I'm devastated because I was 40 and 6 at this point. We were coming up on that 41-week mark, and the time was ticking. So I wake up Monday and I'm just stressed, honestly. I really wanted to have a baby. I was becoming very much impatient, and I started the process again of trying to push my labor along. And so about midday, I started to have contractions again, about 2 to 3 minutes apart. They were mild, but same similar thing happened. Monday night came, I fell asleep. I woke up Tuesday and I had no more contractions. So this is something called prodromal labor. It's essentially like false labor. It's basically just your body is just practicing. Your body's getting ready. Because I was so stressed and because I was trying to force it so much, it just wasn't coming. I wasn't relaxed. I don't think that I really felt like safe in my body because I was just trying to force something that wasn't ready. And therefore, I was not getting the results that I wanted. So Tuesday came, I call my midwife, and I'm just in tears. I had started to feel really hopeless because at this point I'm 41 weeks. I had hit the 41-week mark. And she told me, we had a little heart to heart, and she told me that I needed to chill. I needed to go about my day as if it was a normal regular day. She said, go to the grocery store, go to the movies, go do things that you can't do, those first couple of weeks or couple months with a newborn baby. And she told me to, go see a friend, go see some family, just relax, 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 relax. So that's what I did. I called a family member of mine and we went and met for a coffee. If you know me, coffee dates and me, we go together. So we went and had a little coffee date, and I was trying to ignore any type of sensations literally all day long. So we were in our coffee date, and I was feeling some things, but I was ignoring it. I was not even going to acknowledge that it was there because I was so scared that if I acknowledged it, that I would make it go away like I had the past 2 days. So, yes. So I went and had some coffee with her, came home. Me and my man, we just had a really good day. We ate some good food. We went for a walk. And that evening, around 8 o'clock, contractions started to pick up pretty quickly. And I was about 2 to 3 minutes apart. They were mild for sure. And he was telling me to he started telling me to call the midwife. And I did not want to call her because I had called her the past 2 days. I thought that I was going into labor. I thought I was going to have a baby, and I didn't. So I was terrified to give her a call because I did not want to have like a prodromal false labor situation again. So I just laid in bed and tried to manage the best that I could. I had done a lot of prep before, so I knew like breathing exercises and positions and everything. I did a ton of prenatal education. But I yeah, what do you have to say? But so around 8:45 comes and hubby is just like, we need to call the midwife. So he calls my midwife. I'm hollering in the back because the contractions had become very much real, but I was still myself in between contractions. So I knew that I hadn't hit transition yet. And so she tells us that we need to get to the birthing center now. So we get loaded up. I looked a hot mess. And maybe this is just me being a little vain, but I wanted to like look okay before I met my daughter. I don't know what reality I was in, thinking that I was gonna look any type of cute after having a baby, but yeah. So I we get in the car. I look crazy. I'm talking messy bun that's barely even a bun. I was wearing a moo. I was wearing his shoes. I looked crazy. So we get in the car. We're heading to the birth center, and I feel my contractions start to come down. And so the whole time that we're in the car, I'm just terrified that I had scared my labor away, or it was false labor, or that I wasn't going to have a baby. And so we arrive at the birthing center, and things pick up quickly from there. So we get to the birthing center, contractions get pretty spicy. It pretty much as soon as we walk in the door. And about 30 minutes after we were there, my midwife offers to do a cervical check. And so again, prior to getting so close to having my daughter or being in labor, I thought that I was going to be anti cervical check. But I really wanted to know where I was at so that I could kind of mentally prepare myself for how much further we had to go. And so she gives me a cervical check, and I am almost 8 centimeters dilated. So that is good news to me. I was coping well at this time. And so I'm ecstatic. I'm like, okay, we're having a baby. This is real. So at this point, I spent pretty much my entire labor moving. Well, not even pretty much. I spent my entire labor moving. Um, I really hope that y'all can hear me because my baby is so talkative today. Yeah, what do you have to say? Huh? What do you have to say? So we at the birthing center that I was at, they had it was a huge room. There was like a queen size bed, and then there was a birthing tub. I call it a birthing tub. Really, it was just a bathtub, but it was big, it was spacious. And then there was a bathroom that had like a walk-in shower, and they had birthing balls, peanut balls. They had all types of stuff that I could use in the shower for some, coping things. So I go straight to the bathroom. I am like, where's the water at? If you don't know, water is called like the midwife's epidural. And let me tell you, that water, yes, if you're having a baby anytime soon, if you are able to use water, okay? I promise you, it is the best thing ever. So I spent a lot of time in the shower, on all fours. I would use the birthing ball and put my arms on it and just kind of roll. Hubby held the shower head and he just spread it on my back the whole time. It was incredible. And then I spent a lot of time on the toilet as well. So I sat backwards on the toilet. They refer to the toilet as the dilation station because your pelvic floor is already used to relaxing on the toilet. So if you sit on the toilet while you're trying to dilate, it's going to help you dilate quicker. So I sat on the toilet, and yes, it did that for me. I hit transition, things start to get very spicy. Come here. Keep in mind, up to this point, my water still has not broke. Water has not broke. So where I'm, going back and forth between the toilet and the shower, the lights are dim. I feel very safe at this point. And but mind you, I've had false labor for 3 days now. So I'm a little exhausted. I'm pushing exhaustion. And I don't think that I prepared myself the day that I thought the day of that I went into labor, because I went about it as if it was a regular day. I don't think I had eaten enough. I don't think that I was really prepared enough to go through the marathon that is childbirth. So I start to get very tired. Like in between contractions, I'm nodding off a bit. Um, I'm just exhausted. And so I asked for another cervical check, and I'm about 9.5 centimeters dilated. And my midwife offers to break my water for me. She was like, your water, like the amniotic sac was literally bulging and it wanted to break so bad, but I guess I had like a really thick amniotic sac. So it was having some issues breaking. What's up? Hmm. What do you have to say? Okay, not what I thought she was gonna say. But yeah, my water was just not wanting to break, so she offered to pop it for me. And let me tell you, I'm 9.5 centimeters dilated. I said, break it, please. So she breaks my water, and as soon as she breaks my water, I dilate all the way to 10 centimeters. And so at this point, I'm like, fill up the bathtub, like I'm trying to push this baby out. So they start to fill up the bathtub. I'm still moving around. I'm on all fours. I'm trying to be as active as I can, during and between contractions. What? Hold on. So I'm trying to stay as active as I possibly can between contractions. And so they finally get the birthing pool filled up. And as soon as I got into the water, my contractions slowed for a minute. And I remember I was just floating on top of the water, and I was so ready to have her. But my body had given me a little bit of a break. And honestly, I'm really glad that things kind of slowed down before pushing, because I think that I needed a second to drink some water, eat some food, really to help me get past the finish line. So, all in all, I pushed for 24 minutes, and my daughter was born in the water. It was really the coolest thing, like seeing her being born and just seeing her like come up out of the water, and hubby got to catch her. So he brought her out of the water and put her on my chest. And it was a very magical thing for me. Literally, like 2 minutes later, I stood up and walked over to the bed, and I was able to latch my baby on for the first time. Um, they gave me some juice. Literally, I don't even know what kind of juice they gave me, but it was the best juice I've ever had in my life. And I was able to birth my placenta. If you want me to make a video about what I did with my placenta and what you can do with yours too, let me know in the comments down below. Placentas are a beautiful, really interesting organ. So yeah, I was able to birth my placenta and really just spend some time connecting with my baby. After my placenta was birthed, I was evaluated and checked out for any type of tearing, and I did not tear, thank God. I do think that the water really helped me not to tear, because I swear I thought I was going to be all sorts of torn up. But thankfully I wasn't. And I think my favorite part of the whole experience was two things. After I gave birth, they did an herbal bath for me. So I was able to hand baby off to dad, and they were able to get some skin to skin time. And I was able to take an herbal bath. It was so nice. I just got to kind of be pampered for a second, and it felt like there was a lot of attention on me, like good attention. There wasn't a ton of people there. It was my midwife, a student midwife, and hubby. So it was very intimate, but it felt like everyone was just pouring back into me. So I got to take the bath. They ordered some food for me, so I got to eat before we went home. And my favorite thing of the entire experience with the birthing center was she was born. So we got there probably around 9:30, 9:45, and she was born a little after 2 in the morning. So active labor was fairly short. I would say from like 8:30 to a little after 2. So very short active labor, and we were home by 5 in the morning. So after they checked me out, made sure I was good, made sure she was good, we were able to go home and sleep in our own bed. It was really amazing. So, and again, I was very fortunate to not have any type of complications. She was she was healthy. There was nothing, no complications with her, so I was super thankful for that. And yeah, we were able to come home and sleep in our own bed and get, the newborn stage started. So a couple of key takeaways for from this experience is, if you are wanting an unmedicated birth, you can do it. I am a huge believer in, if you want something and you really set your mind on it, obviously as long as there's no complications or anything like that, I do believe that you can have the birth of your dreams. You can have an empowered experience, and you can have a transformative experience by bringing life into this world. So if you're even a little interested in natural birthing, I would definitely do some research and see if it aligns with, what you, your family, and your provider are wanting. As long as you have no complications and baby is healthy, I would highly recommend birthing centers, even home births. If we weren't in an apartment, I totally would have done a home birth. If I have any more children, home birth will be what we do, because honestly, the worst part was commuting, having to commute while I was in labor, and then having to commute after the baby was born in the middle of the night, and it was November, so it was cold. Prior to being in labor, I was super anti induction, anti interventions, and I received, let's see, three three interventions. I got the membrane sweep, I did the castor oil, and so that was to kind of help to induce me. And then while I was in labor, I did get my water broken, and those were things that I did not think I would ever be open to. So, another key takeaway is to be open for change when it comes to labor, because things happen all the time. There might be a position that you're in that baby does not like, that baby is not responding well to, and you might have to change positions. There might be things that happen where, there could be an emergency that happens, and this beautiful, blissful experience that you thought of turns into an emergency. So try to be, have a plan, have a birth plan, have an expectation, but be open to change. Because I'm really glad that I wasn't stubborn about those things. Um, because I do think that it would have made my labor a lot longer. And I think that I would have just become very exhausted. So I'm really happy that I made that decision. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for watching all the way through. Um, I have a couple of more videos that I want to put out in regard to just birthing, pregnancy, things of that nature. Comment down below if you've had an unmedicated birth, or just share your birth story. I think birthing a human, becoming a mother, is one of the most beautiful transitions that we can go through as women. So comment your stories down below. Let me know if you had any unexpected things happen throughout your pregnancy or your childbirth. Before we go, I did want to throw this in here. I am actually a published author, and I have journals available for sale on Amazon. This is one of my journals. I am actually working on the fourth journal for my series, and really this is just a womanhood series. So this is the first journal in the series. It is a daily journal full of daily check-ins. There's empowering affirmations inside as well. So while you're
I worked
journaling and
super
while you're
hard on
going
this
through
and I'm
your own
super
personal
proud of it.
growth, you're
So
also
I'll leave a
encouraged
link
through
down
the
below.
affirmations for this journal specifically. Stay tuned because I'm about to release my fourth journal. Yes, my fourth one. And this last one is really near and dear to my heart because it's a postpartum journal, and I've worked really hard creating it and, doing my own internal work as well. So, yeah, that stuff will be linked below in the description. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone that you know who's having a baby soon. I hope that you all have a peaceful rest of your day, rest of your night, whatever time you're watching this. Hold your babies close. You're doing amazing. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.